Mind of Christ. Part 10. From the 262 readings. In the portion of this study as pertains to destiny as related to the mind does there come the real import, or the divisions respecting that presented by him, the Master, the Christ. Mind is both spiritual and physical. In the material world, where we find expressions of the physical and of the spiritual, we find mind. Yet what is known as the group mind, or that of the plant kingdom, the mineral kingdom and the animal kingdom or group, returns, as its destiny, to the creative force which is its author, its maker, man. The free will agent, man. Made to become a companion to the Creator through the purification, by manifestation of the love of God as may be manifested in the earth. Makes his destiny as to whether his mind, that accompanies his soul, as one with or in opposition to the creative forces. For he, for weal or woe, gives expression of same one with or in opposition in his activity. Mind's destiny is in him if man will but make the mind one with that which is creative in its essence, in its activity, in its flow and its expression. Mind is the dividing line between that which is human, that which is man, and that which is animal. Or of that division of a group soul or consciousness. Hence the variation in that he taught as he gave to Nicodemus, know ye not ye must be born again. Born of water and of blood. That is of the Spirit. Yet the Spirit making manifest in the flesh the last command, the whole command as he gave, a new commandment I give, that ye love one another. That ye be of one mind, of one purpose, of one aim, of one desire. Each must approach from his or her own vision, his or her own status of development, does not alter that as has been spoken, as the man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So does the mind bring health, wealth, happiness, in that it is made one with constructive force, one with the Creator, and thus fulfill its destiny to become one in him, one with the Father. Not by other than that abiding in me, as I in the Father, ye in me. What ye ask, what ye seek, what ye live, what ye are will be one with that force. Thus is the destiny of mind. Thus is the variation that lies between east and west, that of the old tenet yet ever new, presented in mind as the builder. Mind is that which makes for the destiny and the experience of all, not by denial alone, but rather by an active positive assurance of the mind's activity being one in him. As he abides in the Father, ye may abide in the Father also. For as he is the way, he is the light, he is the bread of life, he is the water of life, he is the vine, we abide in that mind, that flow of life as of him, and we then are one with him. There is the mind as the spiritual aspect or consciousness, in the material, in the soul or mental body, and the mind that is the portion of the awareness within, that is made for its constructive forces in the individual aspects of the soul. As ye meet, so shall it be meted to thee in thine own experience, in thine own activity. So, as individuals in their material or mental experience in the material world find that they are in the activity of being mistreated, as from their own angle have they mistreated. If harshness has come to thine own experience, so has there been in thine own activity that which makes for same, and so is the experience in each phase. The individual in the Christ is under the law of grace and mercy, and not of sacrifice. Each individual becomes aware of the saving grace, or the purpose for which the Holy One gave within self that sacrifice such that all through him may become aware, in the spiritual plane, through the grace of the Christ, of the manner in which the individual has met in the material. For he hath forgiven thee already. Only in thine brother. As ye are to be judged before him by the deeds done in the body physical. For once for all has he entered in that ye are forgiven by him already. As there is the undertaking in the destiny of the mind, the destiny of the soul. As these are given and their tenets and truths correlated, they need only those changes that make them as one. For the Lord thy God is one. One Lord, one Christ, one faith, one hope, one baptism. In the Christ, putting on Christ. May I have a message from my elder brother, the Christ. Abide thou in the way that has been chosen by thee. Meet oft in thine inner self, in judgment upon thyself in him. For ye keep the way open for many. Let that thou doest in thine application of that being presented thee, for the edification of thy brethren, be done in humbleness of heart, in singleness of purpose, in service through thy Lord's meeting oft with thee. And as ye do it in this manner will he abide closer, closer, Lord, to thee. Let thy prayer and thy meditation be, in thee, O Lord, do I trust. In thee will I put my faith, my hope, my all. As related to the destiny of the body. It has been indicated in thine outline as to how there are the manifestations of those things in the earth that become the expressions of the movement of the spirit, bringing into being that which is matter in its various expressions. Also it has been indicated how that matter in its group form, or in its various forms, appears, disappears, dissipates into that from which it came. Yet in man the soul, the individuality of the soul, becomes more and more apparent through the manner of life. Or manner of its expressions in its activity, in its awareness within whatever sphere of activity in which it may find itself. Hence of man. Much has been bestowed. Much is required. In all the universe, the celestial, the terrestrial forces, in summer, in fall, in winter, in spring, in every manifestation we find the beauty of the Lord, of the Christ. The glory of those. Only in man may we see. Through his relationships to his brother. Selfishness, uncomeliness, the desire for self-aggrandizement or for self's own gratification without thought or concept of what may be the result of its activity. Man in his destiny in the body as an individual, as a personality, must meet in personality or in the flesh. Or in the manifestations of same, with the awareness of that as may be builded in and through those various activities through which the body in its varied environments, its varied activities, may find itself. And what makes for the change? Will. What then, is will? That which makes for the dividing line between the finite and the infinite, the divine and the wholly human, the carnal and the spiritual. The will may be made one with him, or for self alone. With the will does man destine in the activities of a material experience how he shall make for the relationships with truth. What is truth? That which makes aware to the inmost self or the soul the divine and its purposes with that soul. So does the body. Whether it is sown in this or that environ, this or that plane of activity. Become one with his purposes, through the making of the will one with the spiritual import or activity, or it makes for the separations. That are to be met only in the material experience. Hence the necessity. Hence the judgment. Hence the mercy. Hence the justice. Shown by the all-wise creative force that is so beautifully illustrated in the spring, the summer, the fall, the winter. The returning again and again of the body of man for its purification. Has not man demonstrated how that the elements in the earth are purged of the dross by the fires of the furnace for their purification? Have not the weaklings in the flock or the unhealthy plants been made sturdy in their relationships of beauty and nature, by purging, pruning, and making for those advancements again and again? And yet some deny that the all-wise, the all-merciful Father would be so gracious to the sons of men who have erred in this a little thing. What hath the Maker of the heavens and the earth said? They that are guilty of the least are guilty of them all. So, in the destiny of thy body, make the will, how? Through the mind of the body. At one with him, knowing in thine self that what has been set, what is, as God. Yet in Christ may ye meet every trial, every temptation. For how hath he spoken? That though offenses must come, and woe be to those by whom they come. He hath not allowed those to be tempted beyond that in the body, above that which they are able to bear. How great, then, is the trust that he hath put in thee, that thou should bear the glad tidings of a risen Lord, and alive God in thine own experience. Ye that have chosen him, as he hath chosen you, to be lights unto the sons of men. Quit ye yourselves, then, as he hath trusted in thee, trust ye in him. The body being of the earth earthy, true indeed is the destiny as is set, that as in Adam ye all die, so in Christ are all made alive. In this statement does it appear as to whether this has reference to the natural body or to the superficial body. With what manner of body hath man appeared, and doth man appear? Body is form. Form is pattern. By what hast thou patterned thy body? What dost thou use as thy measurements? But if ye count time, ye know not the manner of that ye build. For in him hath he said that ye shall become aware of all that hath been from the foundations of the earth. As in him ye all live, as in the first Adam ye all die, so in the last Adam are all made alive. Keep that pattern which is set before thee, and what are and are to be the effects, the results, the essentials, the elements, the mode and manner of thy divinations. What are the attributes of that body which ye as individuals, as souls, would present to thy Maker? Who put on flesh, put on a body, that ye might have the greater knowledge, the greater understanding. What is knowledge, what is understanding, if ye apply it not in thy daily life? The soul's activity in the earth is that it may be one with the creative forces, the creative energies. Many questions, then, are brought to thine own consciousness that must be answered within thine inner self, having to do with thine own experiences. Then, seek ye within thine own consciousness. There may then be given that as may be helpful in thine interpretation of thine experiences, that may bring a consciousness to thy fellow man of the awareness of his presence and of the soul's returning to that oneness with him. Will you please give more information on the resurrection of the body? This is seen in that ye have as thine instructions as to how he, thy pattern, resurrected the body, quickened the body. So within thine own self must come that which through him may overcome death, overcome that transition, overcome that which is the change save the conscious change of being in all matters, all phases, all experiences, one with him. Please adjust the outlines for the destiny of the soul. First, the soul's creation, the soul's association with those influences of mind, of body, and its activities in the material influences that are seen in the activities of a body, through a given experience. And then the questions and experiences of each. Please explain what difference was made in the body of the Christ by ascension to the Father as necessary before Mary could touch him. The presence of the Father, the presence of the Christ consciousness, is everywhere present. The change that was in place was rather the consciousness in Mary than in the body himself. The expression that she was not to touch him was rather the same as would be in any expression given to interpret spiritual things into material understanding or infinity brought down to the finite understanding, see. That is, I have not yet ascended to my Father would to some indicate that the heaven and the Father are somewhere else. A place of abode, the center about which all universal forces, all energies must turn or give off from. Hence up may be rather from within or to the within, of which each soul is to become aware. Heaven is that place, that awareness where the soul, with all its attributes, its mind, its body, becomes aware of being in the presence of the creative forces or one with same. That is heaven. In thine studies of the destiny of the soul, then, let this be the constant affirmation. Lord, let me, my mind, my body, my soul, be at one with thee. That I through thy promises in him, thy Son, may know thee more and more. Commenting upon the subject destiny of the soul. As man finds himself in the consciousness of a material world, materiality has often, in the material-minded, blotted out the consciousness of a soul. Man in his former state, or natural state, or permanent consciousness, is soul. Hence in the beginning all were souls of that creation, with a body as of the Creator. Of the spirit forces that make manifest in using same in the various phases or experiences of consciousness for the activity. It has been understood by most of those who have attained to a consciousness of the various presentations of good and evil in manifested forms that the prince of this world, Satan, Lucifer, the devil, as a soul, made those necessities of the consciousness and materiality that the soul might become aware of its separation from the God force. Hence the continued warring and materiality are in the flesh, or the warring between the flesh and the devil, or the warring between those influences of good and evil. As the soul is then a portion of the divine, it must eventually return to that source from which, of which, it is a part. Will thy name be written there? How does partaking of the emblems instituted at the Lord's Supper supply food to my soul? In that they are the emblems, or emblematical of the body and the blood. The spirit moving upon the body and the blood brings the life flow. As has ever been given, in him we live and move and have our being. Then the partaking of those emblems. Or of that body and that blood. Supplies or becomes food for the soul. Please give a discourse on the creation. Souls were made to be companions with the Creator. And through error, through rebellion, through contempt, through hatred, through strife, it became necessary then that all pass under the rod, tempted in the fires of flesh, purified, that they may be fit companions for the glory that may be thine. Glory, then, is thy next lesson, and this thy affirmation. Open thou mine eyes, O God, that I may know the glory thou hast prepared for me.